So we're here at Ultimet with Paul Dolan, one of the directors, and we're going to be finding out what welding is all about. Simplistic terms, what's welding?
Basically the joining of metals together, basically melting two pieces of metal together to form a structural bond, what welding is.
Is it only similar materials that you can weld together?
You can only really weld aluminium with aluminium, stainless to stainless, mild steel to mild steel. I mean, technically you could weld stainless steel to mild steel, but you wouldn't because you get cross metal contamination.
Is one material better to weld than the other, or are there any that are harder to weld, so they need more attention and more focus?
Yeah, aluminium can have its issues with welding. I mean, it welds fine, but you just need the right plant and equipment to weld it together. It's welded together using alternating current as opposed to a direct current that you'd weld like steel-based items like stainless steel, mild steel. So aluminium has its own challenges. It similarly goes to brass and copper alloys because they tend to be brazed together, so they have a unique set of skills to join those two together. I think that architects do sometimes forget about is that when you do specifically to brass and copper alloys is the fact that when you join them together you will see a join, whereas other metals like aluminium, stainless and mild steel, you can actually polish that out and you'll never see it.
So with welding, in its principle, you take two metals, joining it together. When it gets joined and once it's welded, are there any concerns with the strength? Does it make it stronger?
If we talk about things like steel and stainless steel, no, there's none. The weld will be as strong as the material that you're joining together. As long as you've got the right equipment like we have and the right skills, then the material will be strong.
What's the difference between MIG and TIG?
A MIG plant, for instance, is a continuous fed wire that comes through the actual welding gun. You pull the trigger and basically it's fed off a big spool inside the machine, forces it or brings it along the wire gun, and as you pull the trigger it will then feed that wire in as you're welding. TIG welding is done with a separate torch, and you hold a wire and you feed the wire in manually as you weld.
So are there any advantages over using other materials on certain projects, or does it all come down to knowing what the end finish has to be?
We would definitely want to need to know the end finish. Some of the considerations for choosing products when it comes to the initial design is, for instance, if you were anodising aluminium and its end product was going to be anodised, you can't have any weld showing, because what happens is when you anodise a weld, it shows black when it's anodised. So that's a consideration. Likewise, for copper-based alloys, you can weld them together and they look great, but you will see a join. It's very hard to lose that join where the weld is because of the flux that's needed to introduce into the weld to make it correct, to make it strong. So that's a consideration. Whereas things like mild steel and stainless steel, once you weld them and finish them in-house, you won't see the join.